Okay, so the book is called How to Talk So Little Kids Will Listen, which just sounds like magic. So it's got some really great tips, and it's very much worth either reading or listening to the audiobook. I just got so much out of it, and it really consolidated in my head, hopefully, because I'm just going to tell you what I remember from it. Chapter one's really cool. It's about how kids kind of live in their own world where the ruling force is like fun and imagination. So they're like, woo, this is amazing, let's pretend, let's play, everything's exciting and interesting and exploring. And then grown ups live in this boring, like, straight line world where they're like, right, so I need to do this, that, and this and that. You guys, kids, get in the car. Can you just get in the car? Like, you need to get things done just to live. And the kids are busy, like, not on the same page. And so the trick is, you sort of trick them into doing what you need them to do by playing with them. So you just get into their world of their imagination, and you make things fun. You, like, for example, you make inanimate objects talk, like, oh, come on, I'm a hungry shoe, I'm gonna eat this foot, and you're trying to get the shoes on. Or like, getting kids into the bath, like, like, the example was like, give them appointment cards for the bath, or like, and like giving them options and things. But yeah, like, trying to make things into play, like, say, when you need to leave now and get into the car from the park, you say, oh, do you want to pretend to be butterflies or kittens, and we'll get over to the car like this, and then you can all pretend and play, and then you're joining in the fun, and it's still fun to do the thing that you need to get them to do. Or like, holding hands in the parking lot so they don't get run over, like, oh, let's pretend to be a family of elephants holding trunk to tail, and then like swaggering along the car park, because at least you're keeping them safe. And then, yeah, that giving them options thing, like, do you want to do that in 1 minute or 5 minutes? And then, like, giving them that time. And then, yeah, so little options so that they can choose things. Prompting to make it easy. So, like, for example, holding out the jacket, so then they'll sort of naturally just put their arms in. Like, just things like that. And, like, yeah, making things fun. What else is there? Giving the options. Oh, then, like, one of the massivest whole messages of the book was it's so important to validate feelings, and I have used that as, like, how I've actually used it in my conversations with adults, in my conversations at work as a therapist. It's actually so good. Validating feelings. It's like, you can't really move on until somebody feels heard, and that their feelings are just, and that their experience is true. And so, like, for a child, if they're upset and uncooperative, you can't really just be like, oh, never mind, like, don't worry, it's only spilt milk or whatever. You kind of need to get on their page, and like, you're also sort of teaching them feeling words by identifying what they're feeling and putting it into words. That's sort of teaching them to do the same thing as they grow up, learning how to articulate themselves. Like, oh, that was really hard. Oh, like, even just making noises like, oh, yeah, that's so frustrating. It's so hard when, and then whatever they're going through, like, describing what it is. And then giving in fantasy what you can't give in reality. So, oh, yeah, you, oh, sorry, they're just coming in. I bet you wish you could stay up all night long and never get tired.
Yeah.
And not be tired at school the next day.
Yeah. We need to do the video for my little.
And they have this big thing of they say, oh, yes, I bet, oh, like, you're feeling really like this, or you want to be doing this. The problem is, so you have to say, the problem is, and then whatever is the reality or your need. Like, you need to get some sleep because you've got school in the morning and you'll be tired if you don't. And then you give options like, would you like me to carry you back to bed or hold hands? Like, I don't know if that's the best option, because, yeah, but they've got so many options, and like, they've got so many examples in the book. Like, every chapter has heaps of different examples, and they're done by different voices in the audiobook, so it's quite engaging, and like, really helps you understand, like, different ways that it can be, these rules can be kind of like implemented. So yeah, giving in fantasy, and then giving the options, and then the problem is, and then another thing with the problems is that if you can say, you can go, the problem is like I can't keep cleaning up all your messes all the time or something like that. So how are we gonna let you do, like how are we gonna do it so that you don't make this much mess? And then like you can get a piece of paper, even if they're too young to be able to read, and you can say, okay, well, let's try and think of some solutions. And then you have this like this is called problem solving, and then you have this whole brainstorming thing where you don't reject any ideas during this phase, and you write down any idea that they say, no matter how implausible, and your own ideas as well. And there can be more than just you and the kid in that process, like a couple of kids or whatever. And then you go through every idea and you find one that everybody can agree on, like that you both can agree on. So if one of you doesn't like it for whatever reason, you cross it out, and then you hopefully will find something that you can agree on. And because the kids participated in that process, they're more likely to cooperate with that solution. So yeah, problem solving, making things talk, making things into games, like trying to anticipate things and making them so that they go smoothly. There's a chapter, parents have feelings too, and so it's like, what about when we get like, so angry or frustrated ourselves with kid not cooperating or whatever. And you can say, you can express it, and a thing they talk about before this is that rather than telling a kid a command, giving them information is actually makes it psychologically works differently. So like, take your plate out. Instead of saying that, you say, the plate goes on the bench. And it's like it just has a different connotation, and kids are actually more likely to cooperate or do the right thing if they feel like, if you do it that way. And then sometimes, and giving shorter sentences or even just one word can be easier for the kid to comprehend and compute. So you could just be like plate, and then that might be enough to get them to do it. And then so then if you're getting super angry, for example, and you don't want to like say mean things to them or swear or anything, then you can put all of your angry feelings into saying like an appropriate word or two, like plate, for example. So then like afterwards, like you can patch things up and stuff, but the kid will understand, like you haven't said anything really wrong. The kid will understand that you have feelings too, and that's just part of life. And call me.